Yep, our guys are excited to get a home game, return back to Sanford Stadium, and get a game against one of our SEC East opponents, South Carolina, and it's a great opportunity for us to continue to improve. And we've got a lot of players that want to do that, want to perform well, and we're excited about the opportunity to play the Gamecocks.
For questions, press star one, and we'll begin with Murray Poole, Bulldog Illustrated.
Hey, Kirby. Your defense is the only one in the country that hasn't given up a rushing touchdown yet. That's obviously got to be a point of pride for them. Is that something that the players themselves talk about for motivation, and the coaches also, or is it just something not mentioned? I'm sure they know about it, and it is a great accomplishment so far.
Yeah, it's always a point of pride. I think every defense in the country would tell you they don't want to allow people to run the ball in, but I don't want them to throw it in either. So, I mean, it's not like you can say, all right, I'm going to give up a bunch of passing TDs and not rushing TDs. We want to keep people out of our end zone altogether. We've been able to do that at a decent rate, but look, we've got a defense that has to continue to get better. We have to tackle better. We got to force more turnovers. We got to get more 3-and-outs. We're proud of the fact we haven't given up a rushing touchdown, but there has not been a lot of opportunities, unfortunately, because some of the times they scored from further out.
Okay, thank you.
Next is David Pascal, the Chattanooga Times Free Press.
Hey, Kirby. Will is obviously, he took over a 3-9 program and went to 3 straight bowl games, but he's constantly facing the challenge of 2 of his biggest rivals, Clemson and you guys, recruiting at an elite level and playing at an elite level. Can you just talk about the challenge of that? Because I guess you went through that as a player, because during your time at Georgia, both Florida and Tennessee won national championships. What's kind of the challenge of trying to build a program when two of your biggest rivals are doing so well?
Well, I'll be honest, it's a challenge everywhere. I mean, it's not just a challenge at South Carolina, or it's not that it's not a challenge for us. I mean, the Southeastern Conference and the area, the 10, 6, 12-hour radius around the city of Atlanta, when you talk about the teams that are in that area, there's a lot of good football players. I think the teams that do well outside of the limelight and the top programs in the country are the ones that they recruit to a culture, they recruit to a format, and they have certain criteria they look for in recruits, and they go find the best ones that fit their program, and then they develop them. And I think that's important. If you're going to have success, you're not going to win every single recruiting battle. None of us are. So you've got to go recruit the right kind of kids and do a good job evaluating, and I think they do that at South Carolina. They do a good job evaluating players and getting the right guys in their program, and being able to sustain success is tough anywhere in these conferences because there's so many good programs.
Of course, when you were a player, there was a coaching change while you were there and a coaching change not long after you left. How is the patience? Is the patience the same, or is the patience even thinner in giving guys time to try to build programs?
Yeah, I think you could argue that it's less patience. I mean, when you think about what the turnover that's probably happened in the last 10 years as opposed to the previous 20 prior to that, there was a lot more longevity, and coaches coached longer, and people were probably more patient. But as the stakes have gone up, and those things, it certainly increases the amount of pressure there is to have success. But I also think good leaders in the positions that make those decisions understand that it's not going to happen overnight, and it hasn't happened overnight at some places, so they got to be patient, let their coaches work.
Thank you.
If there are any additional questions for Coach Smart, please press star one. We have a follow-up from Murray Poole.
Yeah, Kirby, going all the way back to Valdosta State, is that still some of the base concept on defense, using the defensive base that Will used back then, or offenses have evolved so much this day and time? What would you say about that, and if there's any similarities to what y'all coached back then?
No, there's not much left over from those days. your basic principles of three deep zone. Three deep zone has stood the test of time, and I think everybody plays it. But outside of that, there's not much carryover from the Valdosta State days.
Did y'all face many spread offenses back then, or was that a pretty new concept back then when you focused for them?
Well, that conference uniquely was triple option or spread. So there were some spread teams, which we were, and then there was some hardcore wishbone option teams as well. So there was both.